A Krell assassin fired a Railbolt, a hypervelocity projectile designed to pierce starship armor directly at the human diplomat's chest during peace negotiations. The alien delegates watched in horror, expecting instant death. Instead, Ambassador Dr. Chen Wei's hand blurred, caught the projectile mid-flight, and crushed it. She looked at the assassin and spoke. "Try a real weapon next time." The Galactic Concordat Summit on Neutral Station Kepler 7 was humanity's first major diplomatic presence. 12 species gathered to negotiate territorial boundaries after decades of Cold War. Earth had joined galactic society only 8 years ago and was viewed as primitive by elder species. Chen was a xeno-diplomat and former Earth Defense Force operator who survived the Mars siege, where she learned that survival means moving faster than death. The Krell Dominion, apex predators who dominated the region for millennia, openly questioned human relevance. Krell physiology was superior in every measurable way. Reinforced exoskeletons, redundant organs, reaction times that made them blur to most species. Humans were considered soft bodies, fragile, slow, lacking natural weapons. Chen knew the species at this summit didn't respect words. They respected capability. The summit convened in a circular chamber with transparent walls overlooking the void. Chen presented humanity's territorial claims modest resource zones near Earth's sphere. Krell war prelate Vexther interrupted with open contempt. Soft-bodied species don't control territory. They inhabit it by permission of stronger powers. Other species murmured agreement. Chen remained calm, citing coalition law and precedent. Vexther responded by having his Ada Krell enforcer named Shrike demonstrate why law meant nothing without strength to enforce it. Shrike approached Chen slowly, a deliberate intimidation display. Station security didn't intervene. This was within cultural norms for Krell negotiation. Chen didn't back away. She recognized the test. Shrike extended one claw and drew it across the table, leaving a deep gouge. Humans are prey pretending to be predators. Chen's response was measured, but her eyes were calculating. She assessed threat levels, muscle tension, strike patterns. Shrike mistook her stillness for fear and escalated. He produced a concealed Railbolt pistol, a weapon that fired electromagnetically accelerated projectiles at Mach 12. The other delegates froze. This was no longer intimidation, it was assassination. Shrike aimed at Chen's chest and fired without warning. The Railbolt crossed 3 meters in 0.003 seconds. Chen's hand moved. Not dodging, intercepting. Her palm met the projectile mid-flight. The impact should have shattered every bone in her arm. Instead, her fingers closed around the Railbolt, absorbing kinetic energy through biomechanics that only existed in Earth's 1G Death World survivors. The projectile crushed in her grip, deformed metal fragmenting harmlessly. Silence. Absolute. Chen opened her hand. The destroyed Railbolt fragments fell like rain. She looked at Shrike with eyes that had seen friends die and enemies break. "Try a real weapon next time." Shrike stared. His physiology was superior, faster, stronger, more durable than humans by every metric. But Chen had just done something that shouldn't be possible. She'd caught a hypervelocity projectile, barehanded. The other delegates leaned forward. This wasn't calculation anymore. It was witnessing something fundamental about humanity they didn't understand. Shrike roared a threat display that made 3 species flinch. Chen didn't flinch. She stepped forward. 1 step. Shrike's combat instinct screamed warnings. Chen's movement was wrong, too smooth, too controlled, like a predator that had been holding back. She spoke quietly. "You've dominated this region for millennia because you evolved in low gravity with natural weapons. We evolved in high gravity with no natural weapons. Do you know what that made us?" Shrike didn't answer. "It made us adapt. improvise, survive through intelligence and resilience when everything on our planet tried to kill us. Her hand, the same hand that caught the railbolt, flexed. No injury, no tremor. Your biology is optimized for domination. Ours is optimized for persistence. Shrike lunged. It was a test or an attack or both. Chen didn't fight like other species. She redirected his momentum, used his strength against him, exploited physics he couldn't escape. In 1.7 seconds, Shrike was on the ground. Chen stood over him. Humanity earned its place here. Next time someone questions that, send someone who can back it up. Station security finally intervened, but the confrontation was over. Shrike rose slowly. No longer aggressive, his body language showed what alien observers recognized as respect earned through capability. War Prelate Vexter stood. The chamber expected escalation. Instead, he performed a Krell gesture of acknowledgement, palm over secondary heart, a sign given only to worthy opponents. The human speaks truth with action. The Krell withdraw objection to human territorial claims. Other species shifted their positions immediately. If the Krell apex predators who'd never yielded recognized human strength, the political calculus had changed. The summit continued, but the tone had fundamentally changed. Species that dismissed humanity now engaged seriously with human proposals. Later, a Sith ambassador approached Chen privately. "How did you catch the projectile?" Chen's answer was honest. "I didn't think. I reacted." Humans trained to move faster than thought when survival requires it. The Sith processed this. Your species lacks natural weapons, enhanced reflexes, armored biology. Yet you caught a weapon designed to kill armored targets. Chen nodded. That's why we're dangerous. We compensate for every weakness. We adapt to every threat. We refuse to accept limitations that biology imposes. The summit concluded with humanity granted full territorial recognition and voting status. But the political outcome was secondary to what really changed. The galactic perception of humanity shifted from curiosity to respect. The footage of Chen catching the railbolt spread across coalition space, analyzed by military strategists from 100 worlds. They reached the same conclusion. Humanity's lack of natural weapons forced them to develop something more dangerous: adaptability. The Krell integrated human combat techniques into their training. Recognizing that predator instincts had limitations that human tactical thinking didn't, Chen returned to Earth with territorial agreements that secured resources for 3 generations. But she knew the real victory was demonstrating that humanity belonged among the stars not despite their fragility, but because fragility forced them to become something stronger. The galaxy learned what Earth's survivors already knew. When you evolve without claws, you learn to catch the bullet instead.